Nardwuar, you've been in this town long enough to know.
Spit on me, okay?
Get him out of here.
We're not going to sit here and jack off all day.
Oh, shoot, shut up, man. You're not funny.
This is embarrassing for you.
It's crack. The guy is on crack.
We're gonna keep them for asking one little question.
I don't give a shit.
Did you like taking all the attention?
Oh my God! Okay,
I am Nardwuar the Human Serviette from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
And you might recognize his face. Nardwuar is a punk rocker, radio talker, and unorthodox journalist, which...
Doesn't sound like a normal name for a journalist, but then Nardwuar is no normal journalist.
His peculiar name and appearance are now anchored in pop culture, but Nardwuar's journey is not without bumps, hurdles, and more than his fair share of doubters. This is the extravagant tale of Nardwuar, the misunderstood superstar. 1985, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. A child named John Ruskin attends Hillside Secondary School and is about to conduct his very first interview.
Circle Hillside Secondary School.
Here, he's interacting with the band Poisoned, and at just 17 years old, John's confidence is unparalleled.
Vertigo, tight squeeze, stiletto. Onwards, we must move past September 26, 1985, into the future. What lays ahead? Why do you like Expo?
The reason I like Expo is because it gives me an opportunity to talk to crazy people.
A year later, in 1986, John attends the University of British Columbia, where he volunteers for the campus radio station CITR.
So we've seen the CITR library. Any questions? We might have been on air when that happened. We were probably on air when that happened.
This was John's proper introduction to the behind the scenes of radio and journalism, and he was enthralled. Surrounded by all things music, CITR was an enlightening experience for John. He quickly became part of the furniture, and it was here that the name Nardwuar originated. There's not much information on what this name means. He insists.
It's a name. It's a concept. It's just for fun.
John's decision to change his identity is the first evidence of him distancing himself from the crowd. From the very beginning, Nardwuar invited the puzzled onlookers, and this name change sets the ball rolling. Despite an unbridled passion for music, much of Nardwuar's time was spent working towards his bachelor's degree in history.
Do you have any idea what you're going to do once you get out of university, you know, when you grow up?
Well, my parents have an idea. My dad would like me to be an engineer.
And what do you think about that?
I'm gonna try to be an engineer, but I don't think I'll be an engineer.
Engineering wasn't on his roadmap. But in 1988, Nardwuar combines his newfound hobby of interviewing with an interest in local history.
Mr. Turner, can I ask you a question?
Well, what's this now for you?
Actually, it's for CITR Radio. I was wondering, who are your main idols, would you say? Your top 3 idols? All right, thanks very much.
In 1990, Nardwuar graduates with his bachelor's degree and decides now was the time to go all in on music and journalism. Because there was something very special that Nardwuar hoped to pursue, and that was called the Evaporators.
Okay, here we go. We're starting CITR's 50th issue of the Scorner Party. We're the Evaporators. Whoa,
The Evaporators were made up of Nardwuar as a lead singer, with his friends David, Scott, and Pete behind him. Right from the start, Nardwuar's wild energy was infectious to watch. Inspired by bands like the Sonics, the Cramps, and the Kingsmen, the Evaporators benefited from an absolutely electric frontman. Day to day, Nardwuar mostly contained his brimming excitement for life, but on stage, with that microphone in hand, there was no containing him.
Nardwuar the Human Serviette presents Oh God, My Mom is on Channel 10.
This record is available at Trax, Zulu, and Scratch in Vancouver and across Canada, hopefully through Cargo distributors and the United States.
But as fun as leading a punk rock band was, post-uni life for Nardwuar also included a lot of political press conferences.
Earlier today at a news conference at Science World, a reporter from UBC's CITR Radio threw an oddball question at Gorbachev.
Of all the political figures, who has the largest hands?
Hi, Mr. Quill. Who's the Prime Minister of Canada?
Do you think, though, that mace equals freedom? Some of the protesters were maced.
What do you say?
Pepper spray?
For me, pepper, I put it on my plate.
Can you cure the summertime blues? Can you cure stupidity, Mr. Ainsley?
Oh, I wish you'd shut up, man. You're not funny enough.
No, I was just wondering.
God's liable strike you dead acting like you're acting. And I'll tell you, enough's enough. And you need God. That's what you need.
Thanks. Have a good lunch.
In the years after graduating, Nardwuar was becoming recognized as an eccentric political journalist in Canada.
Nardwuar the Human Serviette, Timothy Leary. I'm not gonna argue with that.
But these stale conference rooms were a long way from where he knew he belonged.
And doot-doodaloot-doo.
Doot-doodaloot-doo.
Doot-doodaloot-doo. Doot-doodaloot-doo.
Doot-doot. By the turn of the century, Nardwuar was generating a presence in the music industry with his unmatched energy towards interviewing music artists.
Come on, let's go! Come on, come on, come on!
His eccentric demeanour meant every interview was memorable, and it didn't take long for Nardwuar's name to be muttered amongst high-profile celebrities.
Hello, Kurt.
Hello.
I'm feeling great, Mr. Brown.
Well, I know Mr. Brown is real great, but I think you might have better call me James Brown.
But Nardwuar wasn't getting into these rooms with just a funny hat and a voice. No, he knew that in order to really leave a mark on his guests, he needed to do his homework.
His dad played in a surf band that released a surf record? That's true.
Isn't that weird that he... How do you know
What were they
that?
called?
Where did you read that?
He was inexperienced, but it didn't matter that he was nervous. He used it to his advantage.
The less you know, the better. If you're nervous, that's good. That makes you try to find out more information about the person you're talking to.
When it came to interviewing Snoop Dogg for the first time, he knew...
Snoop Dogg, oh, he loves comedy. Maybe he likes Red Fox, the comedian. Oh, and my friend Diane Holm has a Red Fox doll.
I like Red Fox. This doll, where you get this from? Can I have it? Or can I buy it?
It went down well. Nardwuar's hunger to astound his crowd leaked into his interviewing approach.
Whether you're diving in the crowd, trying to get the people into it, or diving into the story, trying to extrapolate the information.
His peculiar presence, curious questions, and generous gift-giving was a treat for many of Nardwuar's guests. But to suggest that these interviews often went smoothly would be remarkably dishonest.
You only have like 2 more questions until we're done.
I don't give a shit.
Why am I irritating you?
Because you're putting your microphone too close to my face.
We're not gonna sit here and jack off all day.
I'm speechless. It's Nardwuar. It's speechless.
Yo, get him out of here.
I'm hungry for an intelligent conversation, which I've yet to find.
Doot-doodaloot-doo.
Many simply couldn't comprehend Nardwuar and were difficult with him with malicious intent or not. But there are a couple instances where Nardwuar's vulnerability as an interviewer were taken advantage of by indisputable bullying.
Good to see you again.
Happy to be here.
Are you happy to take my hat? Are you happy? Are you happy?
Are you happy?
Well, what about your other bandmate?
In a 2003 interview with Blur, Nardwuar noticed within seconds that he'd entered a hostile environment. The 5-minute interview begins with drummer Dave Rowntree snatching Nardwuar's paper, pushing him, stealing his glasses, tossing his hat, and conducting an intimidating stance. He then refuses all questions, threatens Nardwuar, and eventually assaults him. Twat. He leaves the room 3 minutes in, and then on, the interview becomes a little less painful. Unfortunately, this experience is not unfamiliar to Nardwuar, because 8 years previously, he'd gone through worse with Sonic Youth. This 1991 conversation marks the beginning of Nardwuar's interviewing career, and if it was anyone else, would have also marked the end of it. Things get dirty.
Did you record at Conrad Uno's Fun Loft there at all in Seattle? Maybe. Conrad Uno. Hey, just a minute, pal. Just a minute. No, not in that bag. No, not in that bag. Look, I have something to show you. I have something to show you. No, I want to show him. I want to show him. I want to show you. No. Oh my God! You fucking piece of shit!
Guitarist Lee Ronaldo steals Nardwuar's bag and destroys a $100 collector record he was planning to gift them.
You were in Seattle, Washington, weren't you, Mr. Sonic Youth? Come on, take a picture! Oh! Now! Completely shattered! Oh, wait, come on! Oh! Hey! Hey, you can't run away. Okay, well, we still can finish. I can't believe this! I can't believe this!
There are maybe hundreds of instances where the world seemed to tell Nardwuar he was on the wrong path. He breaks convention, upsets the norm. To a lot, Nardwuar is hard to grasp, especially when he was coming through. There is a clear trend in his early years of guests misunderstanding Nardwuar, but if there's one thing we know about him, he doesn't mind.
I prepare because I know I'm going to keep doing them over and over and over again.
What the fuck?
Bro, how the fuck do you know that?
Don't you even know niggas from our block? Whoa!
What the? How do you know
all that?
I put the same amount of research into every single interview I do.
Wait, hold up. How you know that?
Dog, I don't know if you're a fucking police or you're just a really good ass journalist.
You the police? Is you the FBI? CIA?
This VHS cassette right here.
Oh my, Kev. This is what the fuck I've been trying to find.
The minute you think you know something is the minute you should quit.
Yo, how do you know this, bro?
Most guys who interview me don't have as much personality as you.
This is one of the most impressive interviews I've ever experienced in my life.
In many ways, Nardwuar is still the same excitable kid from all those years ago. They doubted him, underestimated him, but he's been rock solid, an immovable object in an industry that took a long time to catch up with him. He's battled a brain hemorrhage, a stroke, and heart surgery while never losing that joyful grin.
If I can do it, you can do it too.
Be curious, forget the doubters, and never, ever forget. Doot-doodle-doot-doot.
Say good night, John. Good night.